Kakariko Village?
Oh,
do you have
no.
to... You have to get something to get up there,
Yeah.
don't you? The Hookshot.
I fired this up for a second and then was like, wait a minute. How the fuck am I supposed to get up here? Do I need a Hookshot?
We ain't solving shit today. Just kidding.
I'll get to the forest temple.
Yeah, we're solving. Don't worry. Keep cool, everyone.
Or this stupid detour will make it so that I'm tired and I don't even want to fucking deal with the forest temple. I'll do it later. I don't know, we'll see. Okay, so we're gonna be solving the mystery of getting a Hookshot.
and then, if you're lucky, we'll solve the mystery of the forest temple. Or attempt.
Well, if they're watching this on YouTube, then they can probably just power right on through to that video.
It's true. It's true. But we don't know what's gonna happen. I mean...
This is fine, I wanted to buy bombs.
For all we know, there could be an earthquake. It's happened in Missouri.
It does. So speaking of Missouri, I was just talking about this a minute ago, but there's legislation on the floor of the state senate to abolish or no longer recognize daylight savings time, which is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Just us, for clarification. Just Missouri. And only Missouri.
Yeah. I mean, I think it seemed like maybe some other states were considering it too, but they're going at it at a state-by-state thing. When, if we're going to abolish daylight savings time, which I don't see why there's any need to do that, because it's good for farmers, it's good for, like, nationwide depression levels, that there's more daylight during the day. But if we want to get rid of it, that's not something we do on the state level, because that makes no sense. I mean, check this out. Let's say that you live in fucking Kansas City, and you have an apartment, because Kansas City is a city that spans between Missouri and goes over the state borders into Kansas, all being one city. So say that you live on the Missouri side of Kansas, you have an apartment there, and you work at Taco Bell in the fucking Kansas side of the city. How the fuck are you supposed to schedule your life to get to work and like be on top of an hour fucking time difference every single day for your 5-minute drive to work?
You know what? An even worse reason why it's like for this state, in particular, is that we actually have two cities like that. St. Louis goes into East St. Louis, which is also Illinois, but there's a lot of people that have to cross the borders when they go to work in the morning there too.
Yes.
It's another one.
Yes.
We literally have two cities.
This is, it's terribly stupid to abolish daylight savings time on a statewide level, but this is like the worst state ever for that.
And yet we're the ones seriously considering it, so there you go.
Well, I don't know that it's a serious consideration. I think it's just something like, well, if we don't come up with laws, even if they're pointless, then wait a minute, what am I doing here?
Let's just elect our state president for 2016.
Well, it's just like, Senate has to be in session this many days out of the year, and they're like, we can only make so many anti-gay bills in a year, so let's just make something that's just pointless so that people can say, the Senate's doing something, when clearly it's not doing anything that'll do anybody any favors. So, I don't know. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Politicians are like diapers. They should be changed often and for the same reason. Because they get full of shit.
Because they get poopy.
Yeah. But anyway, that's my spiel on that. My dad told me about that, and I'm just baffled.
Miffed, even.
How anybody could think that that's possibly a good idea. I didn't read enough to see what the arguments in favor of.
Watch, once we get to the next episode, we take a break and read about it, and we come back and we're just giving glowing reviews on how this is the best idea ever. Complete 180.
I know it's difficult, but we can't do it nationwide. It's got to be state by state.
This is the way forward!
And Missouri will be a pioneer. And in a lot of ways, we are a pioneer in taking things in the backwards wrong direction.
Are we?
Well,
I just figured we weren't much of pioneers at all in anything.
Well, we're pioneers in doing terrible things.
Really?
We were one of the first ones to be like, universal health care. Well, Missouri's not going to recognize that.
Oh.
And we got gay marriage passed. Well, we want to make it legal here and only here for people to be like, no, I'm not going to do that because it conflicts with my religious beliefs.
Oh, gotcha.
That literally happened earlier this week.
Oh, okay.
That got.
Well, we can't really help all. Missouri is to give us some background information
Battle
to give
if
us
you are gay too. Like
if you live in Missouri,
move.
Well, there's some good things about it after living in California. The prices on everything are really good here. But I will say that for someone who doesn't know us, we live in St. Louis basically, or a suburb off of
Lobster Central.
Lobster Central, and
close to Ferguson.
But when it comes to statewide votes and everything like that, that includes the entire state. And what a lot of people know Missouri for is like rural, like Confederate flag having, that's not up here. Just want everyone to know.
And I will touch on this when you're done because there's something else that's ridiculous about this. But,
okay. Well, yeah. Anyway, up here, if you ever come visit St. Louis. Don't visit the bad parts, but if you visit the good parts, you'll have a really nice day here. We got some beautiful architecture, and all of our museums are free. So there's,
all of the ones in which one's which?
Forest Park. Faust Park is right next to us.
Wait, what? Which one?
Forest Park.
Yeah, all the ones in Forest Park are free because of the World Series, the St. Louis World's Fair of like
1904.
Yeah.
Is that really the reason why?
That is the reason why.
Wow.
He's like, I'll let you, the guy who owned the land was like, I'll let you have my land for the World's Fair, but everything that and also, you can have my land to build a zoo, but stipulation is everything that ever gets built here has to be free, and that's why there's always free seats at the Muni, and the zoo's free, and the science center's free, and the planetarium's free.
I did not know that was the reason why. History Museum, Art Museum. History Museum's actually pretty sick. I feel like that's the most underrepresented one. I feel like no one ever says, hey, I went to the History Museum. But it's actually pretty cool. Have you ever been there?
No.
You should try it out once. Have you been to the Art Museum?
No.
You should try that one out. I think they're right next to each other, actually.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And those are both pretty cool. I don't know. I really, as a kid, though, the Science Center was my jam.
Yes. The big dinosaur thing that's no longer
there.
No, it's still there. It's just no longer correct.
Oh, right. Yeah, because they're supposed to have plumage and feathers.
Go with the times, St. Louis Museum. Get some feathers on that motherfucker.
There's also... But the thing I'm most sad about, as a kid, they were way more into the space thing. Mm-hmm. The Science Center. We have the planetarium now, and we didn't have that as kids. But the actual, rockets and astronaut stuff, there was a ton of that when I was a little kid. Mm. I don't know. Do you remember that?
No. At the actual city Science Center?
Yeah. There was a ton of space stuff when we were kids. And they got rid of it.
Not the right place. Did they get rid of it and replace it with something else? Because I feel like things in there kind of fluctuate depending on where you are. I haven't been there in a while.
They got rid of it and made it mostly the planetarium.
Oh, okay.
And then the other parts that they didn't get rid of, I think they just changed to something else.
Gotcha.
But I know it sounds like the planetarium, Tyler. That space. It's no, it's not really, because that's really just focusing on stars and constellations we can see from our own
And there used to be stuff about the science of
space travel,
rockets and rocketry and
that
kind of stuff. Well, nobody cares about space travel anymore, unfortunately.
Apparently not, because we were talking about this the other day, and this is a microcosm of that.
It's no longer a competition, so Americans don't care about it. Man, apparently,
it's too bad.
But luckily, hey, if China is we're gonna go to the Mars, then suddenly the Mars
suddenly we'll be at Jupiter excavating Saturn's rings and hula hooping them around.
So hopefully China decides to, really go, throw down its gloves for the space race, and oh god,
give us some competition, and all of a sudden we are just the space masters.
Yeah,
but no competition, and we just couldn't care less.
What would be great is if China was well, we're gonna go try and terraform Mars, and we'd be oh no, that's suddenly an issue now. That's suddenly actually something we should be doing.
No, China takes it at 13 million steps further and goes, we're gonna activate warp 9.
Yeah. Going to experiment with warp speed.
Yeah, and then like 1 month later, America will be like, well, we did it first, so whatever.
Well, I read an article. I'd have to show you the link or check my facts on it, but NASA has figured out a theoretical way to travel at like warp like 0.2. Was I telling you about this?
Yeah, that's a start.
It's like they figured out a way, like once you get into the vacuum space, you can use like laser propulsion.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
And I read this on an article and I didn't check up with it, so it might have just been completely ridiculous or taken something out of context. So I don't know. But apparently it's like a way you can get people to Mars like really fast, but NASA does not have budget because like we don't care about space travel anymore because we're not trying to beat the Ruskies to the moon.
Gotcha.